This episode is presented by Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York.
I need some help here from the group because I don't feel like in this rumbling, tumbling train that we have here that has a lot of distractions that I've gotten to the things that I wanted to get to that include me being stopped on my bicycle this weekend by a police officer. But
that was headed somewhere, huh?
Well, that often happens around here. There are the occasional derailments, and then you got a Hello Dolly song, or Billy wants to ride off into the distance with the Marx Brothers, and
We didn't get to Carl because, problematic politics.
That's right. And then next thing you know, Ed Garland is what you're talking about.
That's right.
So,
Well, when you bring up harness racing, you got to talk about old Eddie G.
Ed Garland, for those of you who do not know, I got a lot of video and pictures from Billy over the weekend. It was a lot of warmth. He serenaded me with his old teacher, Ed Garland, who is now a harness racer.
Well, no, he was at the time. Pompano Park, Greg, that's where you did the harness racing, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's where
indeed.
you go. From
I've kept him
Hoboken.
alive.
Yeah.
I've kept him alive, and he's dead.
Who?
Ed Garland?
I don't think so.
Oh, because I think that's what you were just saying to me. I thought that's what you were saying, that old Pompano Park, he was a harness race rider?
Retired.
Yeah,
Yeah,
retired,
retired.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming, yeah. He may still be doing it.
But he also may not be alive. You don't know, or he is alive?
I think he is.
Okay, but you don't know.
Well, I can tell you, I don't want to betray a source here, so I won't tell you a source, but I know that some of the images that you got were from a Facebook, so I'm assuming that it's active.
But they were old images.
Well, he's an older gentleman now.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I was
all
in
he
school.
has.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, that was the Ed Garland reference for the people from last week who didn't get the joke that Jeremy and Billy found so uproarious.
You got it because you're explaining it.
I
Yeah.
got it because you bombarded me all weekend with Ed Garland photos because this is who you are.
I was just trying to give you context.
You're not trying to give me context. You
Okay.
like grabbing your jokes.
No.
That you weren't trying to bother me this weekend.
No, I was trying to have a shared moment.
Yeah.
In Billy's defense, he was just trying to provide extra information for you for the context of who this harness racer was that he
Yeah.
had referenced before,
'Cause you
so that
told
today
me-
you could get the joke.
You told me that it was lacking context, so I tried to, provide the
I
appropriate
told you
context
not
necessary.
to make the Ed Garland joke. I told
That
you
was your
not-
first
yes,
mistake,
I
telling him not to make it.
No, he'd already made the.
Well, I
Ed Gar-
didn't get that.
Yeah.
I didn't get that memorandum. I'll go
Right.
through my files, and moving forward,
No,
I
but
will
I've
not
been
make any
tr-
reference
no,
to
I've
Ed
been
Garland.
trying to give
I
you that
promise.
memo-
Ed is not
Memorandum.
dead.
Good for Ed. Mr. Ed. That was a horse.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Of course.
Wilbur.
Classic.
Let's do another back in my day right now on Wilbur, the Mr. Ed. We can do this all day, people.
Don't forget about your bike.
When you get him, thank you, Stugotz. Thank you. Let's find out the origins of Wilbur. He was just impersonating somebody trying to say a horse's name while neighing sort of like a horse.
Well, Mr. Ed was one of Greg's favorite sitcoms in black and white when he was in his 9 years old.
Third person child Greg Cody or different Greg?
Yeah, very young Greg.
This was your childhood television.
Yeah,
a
it was
talking horse.
I remember distinctly it was in black
But
and
you
white.
remember it the way you remember Wilt Chamberlain's video game, 100-point game that you don't actually remember because it wasn't televised?
No,
Or
better than that, because Wilbur was a talking horse. No. Mr. Ed was a talking horse, and Wilbur was his owner. And the joke was Mr. Ed would only talk to Wilbur. And then when Wilbur would say, I have a horse, he talks, and then he'd bring somebody into the shed or to the stall, and of course, Mr. Ed would not talk at all.
Right.
Okay, but while I'm on this subject...
Always taught at the wrong time.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
But you being arrested while on your bicycle...
I didn't say that. I didn't say I was arrested.
I think that's the rest of the story. We'll hear that in a second.
Drinking
But
and riding, right?
It reminded me, George Jones, the legendary country singer.
Bones Jones.
I don't know exactly when this was, but George Jones, he had his license suspended, and he wanted to drive to a liquor store, so he decided to drive his riding lawnmower to a liquor store and was cited for DUI on a riding lawnmower. So that just goes to prove any vehicle will do. Now, on with your story.
What's really amazing about that, Greg, is the first episodes of Mr. Ed aired exactly 1 year, 11 months, and 2 days after the death of Buddy Holly. How about that?
You don't always have to
How
talk
about
like
it?
a broadcaster.
Sorry, I was broadcasting baseball games over the weekend. It broke my brain.
Great coincidence, huh?
It is.
Buddy.
Jeremy's working too much.
It's good to know, Jeremy. Thank you.
You think?
Thank
Well,
you for
let's
that.
talk about this because Jeremy was at the center of a very nice moment. It was lovely this weekend in that the Marlins had a legitimately fun ending to a game. Mason Miller throws 104 miles an hour.
Everyone does.
No, not every. I understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying.
A lot of heat out there.
Aroldis Chapman's still out there
No,
throwing
no,
104
look,
somewhere.
No, look. I will tell you this because I really do love this sport because the Mets have a single A player who is throwing 104 miles an hour, and I cannot trust a single A player with that kind of arm. I'm telling you right now that even if I were a professional hitter, I would refuse to work under those circumstances. A single A pitcher throwing 104 miles an hour where he doesn't know where that ball is going yet? No, thank you. That's not a sport I'm playing. That's happening in single A. The arms are bigger and stronger than they've been, but this Oakland A throws harder than any human being throws a baseball.
Not in Oakland anymore, in Sacramento.
Okay, so wasn't this home run? Wasn't this grand slam off of Mason Miller?
This is off of Mason Miller. It's a pitch over 101 miles per hour that Kyle Stowers at the top of the zone gets on top of and drives.
Yes, so it's not just all of this. Okay, so you've got 2 outs, bottom of the ninth. It's the dream scenario. The bases are loaded, and the guy throwing hard. You take him opposite field, right? And I think the way that I heard the announcers call it, this sport can be tricky for the announcers that way. They didn't initially know that would go out opposite field that way, and they were worried it was just a fly ball, and then they realized, no, that guy throws 104. If someone makes contact, it's going to also go out very fast. And so you end up getting this audio.
Swinging a ball lifted in the air, deep left center field. Stowers, no way! A walk-off grand slam. This kid is unconscious. No way did he do that. This place is going bananas.
Wow. Actually sounded like a decent crowd.
And listen to this. It was a great moment. And in the middle of it at the end, Jeremy, who's working too hard and still in broadcaster voice, he discards all semblance of journalism and simply embraces Stowers. Yes, just ridiculous.
that's me.
Yes, that's not.
That a boy?
That's not
Shake, a little half hug,
That's
Yeah.
not.
Congratulate the man.
smiling
Yeah.
as
He just hit a walk-off grand slam.
Yeah.
I think I'm allowed to give him a little high five.
Look at
no?
the face, though. Look at Jeremy's face. He's so happy.
Yes, but
That's my first major league win.
I don't think
My first major league win is a
Jeremy-
walk-off grand slam.
Jeremy does this with the basketball games. Does Jason Jackson keep his record?
That's my win.
I'm just saying. Like,
That's my
Jeremy
first
does
major
this.
league win.
All the Heat games, he's like, I'm 9-2 this year. I'm like,
Yeah, well, when the Heat are like under 500 at home, it is kind of peculiar that I get to have an over 500 record.
I mean, Waslow thinks he's a 2-time champion.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
come on. I'm
yes.
not allowed to be excited about a win.
I was just going to bring that up. An unnamed broadcaster whose name begins with Z in his description says 2-time NBA champion. Really? What'd you do to win those championships?
you really pounced on that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's been in my craw for a little while.
You don't say.
Glad I brought
I
it
mean,
out.
come on, 2-time NBA champion, please. What am I? Okay, I covered both of the Marlins World Series. Am I a 2-time World Series champion? Are you kidding me?
Do you have a ring?
I mean, I have a little replica ring, as a matter of fact,
the relic.
because at the time I had season tickets for my family, but never wore the ring.
Why do you hate Zaslow?
I don't. I just think it's fun. I think it's hilarious, patently ridiculous that any broadcaster in his self-description would refer to himself as a 2-time champion because he broadcasts those games. You didn't win a championship. You described a championship. You're not a 2-time NBA champion. And that's nothing personal against Zaslow, because I would say it of any broadcaster who referred to himself, as an 8-time champion because he broadcasts those championships.
I haven't
You
been there
disagree?
yet.
Am
I haven't
wrong?
been there yet, Greg, but I will say I sure felt like a winner after that. After a walk-off grand slam where they're throwing a Gatorade bath on top of the player and then he's coming over to me and we're sharing in what the emotions are after that game, it makes me feel good. I don't know if I would consider myself a champion if my team won.
Right.
If the team that I'm broadcasting for all season long and go through that every single game ultimately gets there, it's a marathon. Like you feel like you did your part, I would imagine, if you're Jonathan Zaslow. At the same time, no, he did not win them the championship. The players on the floor did, right?
I totally get what you're saying because you're paid by the team, right?
I am not.
Okay, you're
This
paid.
keeps coming up for
I'm
poor
really
Jeremy.
sick of that
This
one.
keeps coming up.
Okay,
for Jeremy.
but you are paid.
Let's just move on. It doesn't
I am
matter who
paid
pays
to
us.
I
cover
think
the
we should
team.
talk about Jeremy more.
Yeah,
I think
well,
we
this
shouldn't
is-
talk about who pays me.
This is this is the dream scenario for Jeremy and narcissism and slapped on the ass and first major league win. And I'm 9-2 in these games, and he's an up and coming broadcaster. And this is how journalism is done now. And Zaslow is an up and coming broadcaster. Nosferatu, Devil's Feet, and they're here to do journalism differently than you do it.
Okay, can I ask you a question in all seriousness? Am I wrong here? Do you think that a Zaslow, just to use a random broadcaster, when you see that he describes himself as a two-time NBA champion, you think what?
I think it's funny how people wrap their identity in sport.
I have a question. So, and Jeremy, this question is not for you; it's for us about you. So, in a walk-off situation, most reporters try to evade getting the cooler dumped on them. Jeremy was hoping
love
and
it.
moving
He would
towards
love
it,
it.
right?
Running
Like
towards
he
it,
tried
yeah.
to
Make it
push
about me.
Stowers
Make
out of the
make
way.
your
Dump it
grand
on
slam.
himself.
Come on, guys.
Make your grand
Looking
slam.
ar-
I'm surprised he wasn't Chris Bosh in the championship.
I
locker
was so
room.
mad that they poured the Gatorade on him before he came
Yeah.
over to me. He took off his jersey and they just like did it on top of the shirt before, and he got a solo moment. I was like, come on,
If
man,
we
get
can
in my
around-
suit.
If we can see this again, we can see the jocular lack of intimacy in a hand to the right side, but Stowers is immediately off to other things. Watch, he goes off to the left. He's not interested in having this joyous moment. Like Jeremy's in the middle of it. He can spill into it. They can have some fun together, but he's going to get off and out of that situation as fast as he possibly can. And I'll slap you on the ass here real quick. But Jeremy seemed very eager to jump up into the arms of Stowers, and Stowers is like, my teammates are over here on the left. I'm going to go, I'm going to greet this person because I have to professionally, contractually do an interview here, but I'd prefer to be with people I like more than this.
Nah, that's my guy. His in-laws were sitting down the third base line. He had to give a little wave hello. I mean, come on, you got to do the work that way.
Indiana Jones hat Hall of Fame.
Well, this is, thank you,
Oh,
Billy,
wow.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Who else? All right, so Hat Hall of Fame, thank you. That's one thing I haven't gotten back to, and there was another thing that I wanted to get back
The
to.
bike.
The bike, but also me being wrong about the Clippers. I wanted Stugotz to make a sort of thong song today about me being wrong, but Jeremy swooped in and knocked him out of the way and said, I want to make a song about
Well, plus,
you being
we've already
wrong.
done this.
You're wrong, 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 wrong.
We've already done that, but we didn't do it with Stugotz. I think Stugotz trying to do it would have also been good, but Jeremy didn't have any time for it. So he wanted to make fun of me before everyone else made fun of me about how wrong I was about the Clippers.
Bad Dan Le Batard. He's had real faith in those Lions. Yeah. And also Mike Lennon. And now it's James Harden. Even though Dan knew we cannot ever win game sevens. Dan believed in the Clippers. It's Harden and Stugotz and Leonard. Damn, Dan, you should've known better. Dan believed in the Clippers. On a bitch and he's bitching at Powell. Should've just thrown in the
I was
towel.
4 for
Dan
11,
believed
Norm
in
Powell.
In the
I'm
Clippers
so pissed off.
against his guy Jokic.
You gotta go over
Dan
17 and a
just
half
wanna be
there.
noticed. Dan believed in the Clippers. I think I know why Dan believed in Harden. They both got tummies that softened. Dan believed in the Clippers.
It's infuriating. I mean, he's going to be one of the biggest chokers of all time, right? Like just reputationally, where
Yes.
when we look at people that you can't even take the stigma off of them, who's going to be going in this class? You are the MVP, but when it comes to the end of games, you're going to go 7 for 44 from 3 when you got a chance to beat Durant. When you got a chance, because Stugotz, the history of all this, if you're watching the last 15 years of this insanity, Oklahoma City in these 15 years since LeBron teamed up with Wade and Bosch.
Yep.
You had OKC, you had Harden, Westbrook, and Durant. It's crazy that they're all still in the league in various states of disrepair. But on that team...
And Westbrook's the only one still playing.
Well, yes, Westbrook's the only one who's still got games to play and getting texts and describing the Westbrook experience correctly when he says, yeah, you're going to get turnovers and steals, and I'm going to miss threes, I'm going to make threes, and I'm going to dunk, and I'm going to miss threes, and I'm going to make threes, and I'm going to run around, and I'm going to steal. And
I'm Russ.
Yeah, and I'm going to be, somehow I'm going to be just more fast-twitch muscle fiber than anybody. Even at the end, because this part's just super weird to me, like when we talk about how these guys have aged. Of course, I thought that game would age poorly. He's one of the worst three-point shooters in the history of the sport. But he scored 44 points in a finals game back when Durant and Harden were on his team, at least in part because he knew back then Harden couldn't be trusted.
Yes.
Everybody did back then. Harden vanished then.
I'll take these shots.
Of all the ones you've seen Harden vanish from, the one that people least remember is OKC when Harden was great all season and then would not be heard from at the end. Heat OKC. And now look at everything that's happened since, which is Harden has a hell of a lifestyle, man. Great fun. Huge fun. MVP. And I'll collect checks the rest of the time. And Game 7, I won't be there for that one. You guys handle that one yourself. I'm going to just hang out here on the perimeter. I'm going to get 2 free throws. I'm going to get a bunch of assists, but I'm not going to actually control the game.
He was sitting back like Kawhi's got this one, and Kawhi didn't show up either. I mean,
well, it's not that he didn't show up. It's that they know that they don't have to bother with Harden.
Well, when it comes to Westbrook,
double teamed him.
I mean, they made the game very, very difficult for Kawhi Leonard.
I just think that we should celebrate Russell Westbrook because this guy, understandably, because of what ended up happening and sort of the steep drop-off that happened quickly in his career in terms of efficiency, we sort of wrote him off as, oh, he doesn't deserve this and he's not that and he never won on his own. In an era where Steph Curry was the most entertaining player, bar none, Russell Westbrook was the second most entertaining player. And he was in series after series that were interesting. He's been a part of all these different teams that have either lost in big moments or won in big moments or upset teams that should have won. And he, in this game, that moment with the breakaway dunk, with the technical foul where he's yelling at the crowd
it's 3 years
and
of rage.
getting them out of here.
4 years of rage.
That's as entertaining as anything you'll ever see on a basketball court. I love that guy.
I have described him for a long time as like playing sort of like a radiator hisses and the defiance of the last 4 years. I can't imagine how – we talked about the way that Giannis faced disrespect. I can't imagine how great it felt for Russell Westbrook, MVP, averaged a triple-double, to tell everybody in America, go bleep yourself. You don't have any earthly idea how great I am at this thing that I do. And just because I have the audacity to age – and it's tough in this league of competitive people to age. All of that came out in that moment. But I just can't believe that history will remember Durant and Westbrook much differently than it will remember Harden, because this is a really, really excellent player who not only chokes in big games, but when you said that Westbrook and LeBron, entertaining games and drama and whatnot, and exciting to watch, Harden ruined the game aesthetically. Ruined it. Like, started right there with, oh, you're going to do all this stuff with usage rate and three and fouls, and you're going to just keep running into people. And so it's not only we're going to hate him for not being big in the big moments, it's that in Game 7 you can't do your dirty tricks of getting a bunch of fouls either, because you're not actually involved in the parts of the game that require the heaviest lifting from a number one.
After another one of these, can the 15-year-olds on the internet who are trying to say that James Harden is better than Dwayne Wade just shut the up
okay,
already? I mean,
enough.
Enough.
Get him out of here. No,
Enough.
I'm done with this guy. It's just unnecessary. Cursing from what is that? Like, get out of here.
On behalf of Amazon Prime's own Dwayne Wade.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, spreading propaganda.
Just stop at the heat stuff everywhere, man. Like, we don't need it everywhere and everything that we're doing, soiling every opinion.
He's not paid by the team, though.
He makes that distinction each time.
Okay. That's a thin line, though, right? I mean, he's expected to be a pro Marlins broadcaster, unless I'm wrong. Okay, unless I'm wrong.
Do you think Eric Reed, like when he introduces himself to people, do you think he says I'm the voice of the Heat or 4-time NBA champion?
Not that I'm aware of, and I think more of him for not doing that.
That wasn't a not that I'm aware of question. He was asking you which way he introduced himself. 4-time NBA champion or voice of the Miami Heat or neither.
I think voice of the Miami Heat is descriptive and accurate.
Right.
Voice of the Miami Heat is even more obnoxious than 4-time champion. Hello, I'm Eric Reed.
Oh, I don't think so.
Voice of the Miami Heat.
No. Rick Weaver was the voice of the Miami Dolphins for years.
Which
It
is
what
more
it is.
obnoxious? You guys tell me. Introducing
But he actually
yourself.
is the voice of the Heat.
But he's also a 4-time champion.
No, he
I know,
isn't.
but Greg is saying
No,
he's
he
not.
Well, he's not actually the voice of the Heat either. He's just somebody who broadcasts their game. Pat Riley is the voice of the Heat.
Okay, well, if you want to.
For now.
Yeah.
Well, yes, until he gets fired by Stephen A. Smith.
Well,
again.
no, or LeBron and Kevin Durant come together.
according to that
To
report.
some, yeah.
The couple of things that I wanted to get to that I have gotten derailed from. And I want to know if you guys know this. The Hat Hall of Fame. I need to get a Hat Hall of Fame from you.
Yeah.
And I got pulled over because I went through a stop sign on my bicycle. And I did not know that you couldn't just roll through stop signs on your bicycle. I didn't know that bicycles had the same set of road rules as cars. I thought you could just roll right through intersections if you see nothing's going on and you're on a bike path.
It's not a yield sign. It's a stop sign.
I know, but I thought it was for cars. I didn't think it was for a bicycle. So I ask you the question.
But bicycles have their own lanes now.
I know, but I don't think of stop signs. I think of if I'm on a bicycle, like if I'm going on a road that's 15 miles per hour, and I can see clearly on both ends that there is no car. I'm not in a vehicle dangerous enough to others that I need to stop there. I thought I could just roll through that. I don't. Do you think that cyclists that are listening to this stop at every stop sign? Because I don't see a whole lot of people stopping at stop signs unless there are cars coming through the intersection. I see all over South Florida bikes rolling through stop signs. I did not in any way expect to be pulled over, so much so that while the cop is next to me with the lights flashing, I wave and say hello.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And did you keep going?
Dan pulled off to the side.
Slope speed
I
chase.
kept riding. Yes, it was that's right.
So the cop thought you were trying to get away?
No, well, yes.
Dan almost pulled off to the side.
Disrespectful at the very least. I wasn't trying to pedal away fast.
You pulled off
but
to the side.
I was resisting arrest.
He pulled you over and said, all right, officer, let's take this picture and keep it moving.
Well, I thought that's what it was.
The move is where you pull off to the side thinking they're just going to pass you, but then they pull behind you and you're like, oh, wait, what?
Okay, but listen. All right, so
I was doing something nice for you.
When I say listen literally, very few people are in their cars more than police officers. And so there are a lot of police officers, more so than anything else. I often get pulled over by police officers who just want to say hello. Because I'm driving around in slow places.
Well, the paper they give you is called a ticket, and you got to pay those. It's not like a fanfare for meeting you.
They let you off with a warning, please. Tell me they did.
Yes, they did.
What?
Really?
Oh, come on.
But I didn't know it was a crime.
You talked your way out of it. You talked your way out
for
of it.
anyone.
Go ahead, Roy, say it.
Two Americas.
At LeBatard Show, is a black person more likely to be arrested rolling through a stop sign on a bicycle?
I would like to. Do you know the officer's name by any chance?
No.
I would like to give that officer like a Medal of Honor. Possibly even like a Presidential Medal of Freedom. I can't give those, but maybe one day. I can't give those, but like this police officer, I don't use this term lightly, is a hero. Because the people that ride bikes and are constantly not paying attention to any of the laws of the road because they believe that they're just on bikes and they don't need to, really are a hazard and danger to everyone else involved because you just run straight through. I was driving down the street the other day and there was a woman running with headphones on and I'm turning and she just runs straight across the street without even looking both ways because she couldn't hear cars coming. People need to be more aware of their surroundings. And more often than not, and you know what? I support our boys in blue. I respect them, all of that, right? But more often than not, police let things go that you'd like to see them not let go. Like I was driving today on the expressway and I saw a motorcycle zooming full speed through a bus-only lane just to not be in traffic. There's a cop 2 cars ahead of me and I was sitting back and I was like, we're going to go get him or what? What are we doing here? Come on, let's put an end to this. And it didn't happen. So I would like to commend this officer for upholding the law with you, Dan Le Batard, rogue bike rider.
For paying attention, Billy, for paying attention.
Yeah.
Someone out there is paying attention.
Saving lives, really.
Yeah.
Probably Dan's life, honestly.
Yeah.
At LeBatard Show, did you know that you could be arrested for rolling through a stop sign on your bicycle.
Well, you weren't arrested.
I know, but you could be. I was not aware.
And you were drunk.
I was not drunk.
Yeah.
That's not part
That's
of
not
the
what I
story.
heard. I happen to know the cop.
The guy who slurs his way into the bushes is
Hello.
going to...
No.
Why didn't that go as "Hello, Dolly"? Why was it just "Hello" said that way?
That's
as opposed
different,
to-
yeah.
That's a
It's
whole different
one.
A whole different retort.
You guys all knew this? Everyone knew this. I'm
Yeah.
the only one who didn't know that you can't ride on a bicycle a little bit differently than we do according to regulation, street law in vehicles like drag racers.
I will admit that when I'm driving in my car and I see a bike come to a stop at a stop sign, I roll down my window and I go, "Nerd!" and I just screech away. You know, I mean, you don't see...
in your Corvette?
Yeah, you just don't see bikes
You
stop
slayed
at
them.
stop
You
signs.
slayed them
I
in your
did.
Corvette. You
I
drove
slayed.
off.
Imagine
Yeah.
how it's going to be when they're driving on that arch. I mean,
Yes, exactly.
Dan, you should
drunk
feel
like that.
very, very lucky, Dan, that they let you off with a warning because according to our crack investigative team, Dan, you have an outstanding speeding ticket for $200
Whoa!
in Miami Beach. So if that officer had known he could have pulled you over, Dan, you could be in jail right now for all we know. Unbelievable.
You didn't run the records.
It's ridiculous, Dan.
Did somebody run a public records thing right now? Are you just
We have a
making that
great
up?
investigative journalism team.
fake
Your
Howard
middle
up
name is
to.
Thomas, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
I knew
you.
That. I knew that too. I'm a journalist.
I have an outstanding ticket
Yeah.
that you guys...
Everyone does. I feel like everyone's got
No.
some
I
outstanding
definitely
ticket.
have one. I have like 7 or 8 from different parking garages, that's for sure.
My wife will pay it for you.
I get a bill every month for like some pass. It's like you owe us. It's like I paid you.
Can you get Arlene on, please, so that I can talk to her and ask her
She wasn't
some
available an hour
questions?
ago. I'll check.
Okay, so the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody.
Yep.
Are you going to ask her to pay your ticket? I mean, Greg did offer it. So.
She would.
The Greg
Such money
Cody
she
Show
wastes.
featuring Greg Cody.
With?
Fine.
It's with. I mean, I appreciate the mention of it, but it's with, not featuring.
That's right.
I mean, get that straight.
Yep.
It's part of the title of the show. It's like if I called your show the Dan Le Batard Show and Stugotz.
That would be nice. That would slay.
You better step back.
That would slay.
Ooh, me or Greg?
Oh, that hit a little close to home. What's going on?
Been waiting for that mistake for 20 years.
The Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody.
With.
Fine.
Yeah, with. Thank you.
He was mad, and I don't know if you guys saw how spicy he was when he came in here. And I don't know, Chris, if you understood. I saw you just mouth now traffic, and that's part of it. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you find yourself increasingly angry in traffic and after traffic? Because he did storm in here, but it wasn't just traffic that was bothering him. He said that the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody went out today 90 minutes too late. You don't understand, or maybe you do, Chris, as his producer. The amount of narcissism that your father was feeling, and I want to tell everyone how I danced at the wedding. Like that would be released 90 minutes late. That you wouldn't allow him to make your brother's wedding immediately about him and the things that he felt and saw, so that he could give content to America. He came in here enraged and said, quote, "Inexcusable that I went out 90 minutes late today talking about me and more me and more me on a podcast named twice for me, The Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody."
He likes to just he likes to just rip people. He did it at the hotel the other night. Me and my brother and my dad were waiting to get into the hotel where we're gonna like be getting changed, getting ready for the wedding.
He's painting me in a bad portrait here.
It was supposed to be ready at 1. They kindly told us, "Hey, sorry, it'll be ready 1:15." And just my dad huffing and we're a wedding guy. We're on the top. People checking in. He's like, they're not staying in a suite.
He's a spoiled
Those
brat.
people are not staying in a
God,
suite. Why do
your
they get their
your
room before
father's
us?
the most
He was crushing
entitled-
Mark,
No,
huh?
he's a toddler, and he's free now, and he's empowered and enriched by book fame and podcast riches. And he
Should have
can't be
seen him
controlled.
huffing and puffing,
Yeah,
giving
can't be
like
controlled. Everyone.
like
I
just
was puffing, but I
staring
was
at,
not huffing.
giving looks to like the making up people uncomfortable, like just not even
No.
speaking.
Yes.
I
Just
shamed him.
old.
I shamed
Yes.
him out of going up there and physically speaking to them. So he's just like steam coming out of his ears, just
Yes.
staring at them.
Entitled toddler.
It's a total exaggeration.
No,
I was not.
bet it is.
I was not being rude to anyone. I did point out to them that We had made this arrangement weeks ago.
Like
with
most reservations are.
With the understanding that we had to be in this suite at a certain time, and we were told in advance it'll be available.
It is a big
1.
day, too. It's a big day.
Yeah.
No, and it was a mistake by them, but they were apologetic. They were like, it'll be 15 minutes. Just the idea of
He wants the room.
No,
He doesn't
but
want to
needs-
apologize.
No, but look, it's how about you. It's how you handle these things. He needed to let them know that he was frustrated. It's like
I handled it with aplomb.
They acknowledged the mistake. They said it would be ready in 15 minutes, and that wasn't good enough. He had to let them. He had to keep pacing by the desk, letting them know how angry he was.
I mean, you are exaggerating. You'll admit. Was I angry? Did I convey that in the most polite way possible? Yes, that's correct. You know,
I just want to address here, was I angry in the most polite way possible? And with the song, I handled that with aplomb.
That's correct.
Like, so I don't know how you define aplomb. How do you define aplomb? Because
Is this the fruit?
handling them with not a plum.
It's like a purple thing.
Yeah, APLOMB.
To handle something with a aplomb is to handle it with great grace. I don't think of that as seething anger that has you stomping around with your son embarrassed by the way that you're behaving. That's the opposite of great aplomb.
My anger was deftly hidden.
But not from your son.
No, it wasn't.
Well, you know me.
I walked into the room and I could just see it on your face. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, we're supposed to be in the room by now. It's 1 o'clock. They said 1:15. They've apologized, but it's not good enough.
I mean, along the timelines, 1 o'clock, if you're going to the hotel room to get ready, by 3 o'clock, Greg was 3 drinks in at the venue. There's not a lot of wiggle room there.
Billy, I will tell you this. Right now, I would win. I'll have no choice but to run for president of the United States, just like Stephen A. Smith, with the platform of I will make federal mandate noon check-in at hotels.
Nice.
Yes.
Now you're
Well,
talking.
then check out is like 8 a.m.
You got my vote.
You got my vote,
You'd have to check
I
out
haven't
at
thought
8
that
a.m.
part out. It's like the tariffs. Bleep off with your details. I'm just running on federally mandated every hotel noon check-in.
You got my vote.
Yes.
Executive order.
I need that in a Super Bowl Saturday.
All right. Thank you, Dan.
Dan.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. Thank you,
I
Dan.
have not thought of the consequences that no one wants to leave their hotel room at 8 a.m.
No.
Yeah, but it also shouldn't take housekeeping 4 hours to clean a damn
There
room.
we go.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of
They have a lot of
Painting the
rooms.
walls
That's
and
who we're
retiling
criticizing.
the bathroom.
We're gonna
A lot of
criticize
floors that you
that
gotta go
house.
to.
Be careful whenever
Come on,
you
man. Leave a tip.
This
Oh,
feels
boy.
like
What
a
happened.
mistake.
Yes,
Leave
don't
a tip.
allow the elite
This
to
one
get around
does.
how it is housekeeping should be working. Next thing you know, you're going to have people deported.
It
Dan.
shouldn't- Yeah. come
Not
on
him.
now.
He wouldn't do that.
Okay. It's not rocket science.
Do you tip housekeeping?
What is
if-
what you're doing right now?
If I'm staying there for more than a couple of days, absolutely.
Right.
If I'm staying there for 3 hours, like I was Saturday,
Wait a minute.
I
You
wouldn't.
tip housekeeping?
Yeah.
Oh,
if
I
I'm,
did,
if I'm
yeah.
there for an extended period of time, sure.
Not, 1 day, 2 days, that you'll leave money on the pillow?
Usually on the desk.
I'm surprised to hear you do that. Put
Well,
it on
my
the poll.
wife does, in all honesty.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
There
and,
it
and
is.
I ask her how much did you leave for a tip because I'm thinking $20, and she'll tell me something that she thinks is palatable to me, and I triple it.
I'm shocked that you're good with 20 because we've done the whole thing here with valets where you
That's not-
have.
he lied
He's
right
trying to
now.
break a 5.
He just
It
lied.
hurts me to
valet.
give a 5.
He
I
lied.
will
Let's
admit
get
that.
your mother on the phone. He just said he tripled your mom's tips. She's going to blow a gasket. You think he was mad about that room? Him out here claiming that he will triple his wife's tips when I know him to be a cheap man.
No. What I mean is I tripled what she tells me she left for a tip.
In
Oh,
his
I
head.
see what you're
In
saying.
your head, right.
She
You
lies
don't
to him
tip
about
at
the
all.
amount.
You
10,
don't
you
tip.
tell her you would've
You
left
don't
30.
tip at all, and
Right.
you would not
No.
tip. You would not tip.
No,
you would
she
not,
might,
you would
depending
not
on my
tip.
mood.
I might.
You would
She-
not. Depending on my mood.
She tells him she tipped 20, and he assumes it was actually 60.
I get it.
I mean,
sorry.
I'm not taking a crap in the bed. There's nothing I'm leaving for the
Fair.
housekeeping.
No.
You're sleeping with those feet in that bed.
Yeah, that's true.
I saw for the first time
That
a
is
hotel not too long ago that actually had a QR code if you wanted to tip the housekeeping, which I
That's
thought was
smart.
awesome.
That's great.
Because I never have
Yes.
cash.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
but I am so tired of everyone wanting a tip for everything.
I know, I
though.
hate
like
that
this
too.
is just a this
careful.
is a proliferation of tips for
It's because we
everything.
pay them totally unlivable wages.
There is that. It is a cry for help. It's a cry for help on the internet. Tip me for something you've never tipped for because I'm slave labor. It
But
is.
they're cleaning my
Slaver.
room. I mean, do you know how much disgusting my room is
I
after
can
3
imagine.
days?
I can imagine. Again, though, I get back to. I want some clarifications here. Depending on my mood, couple of days, he would not tip housekeeping. He was just taking credit for his wife. Tipping housekeeping.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you go on a cruise ship and the tip's built in. You have no choice but to tip.
Right.
Which I don't like. I think tipping should be an option at all times, under all circumstances.
How about Uber? Because the tip is built in. I mean,
Well, Uber's a fine line because I don't want my Uber driver to talk to me too much.
Put it on the poll. Do you tip Uber and do you tip housekeeping? I'm going to guess most people do not tip housekeeping. I was stunned to hear you say that, and then less stunned when I found out you don't actually, and you object to your wife doing so.
No, I object to how much she's leaving for a tip.
You would do it if it depends on your mood.
Yeah, and depends on the service.
But your mood would always be to not tip.
No, not really. No, if I'm there for a couple of days, if I'm one night in the room.
I don't know the distinction you're making there. 1 night, 3 nights,
Couple of days you're like living
one
there.
night,
I mean,
7 nights, 1 night, 2 nights, 9 nights.
No,
what
one night I won't tip unless I've asked for
2
a
nights,
special favor.
2 nights.
2 nights is a maybe.
3 nights.
3 or more nights is pretty much definite. Unless housekeeping has been a little bit surly to me.
yes.
Surly.
Yeah.
And you let them have it. Yeah.
They gotta earn.
Then it stops
They
right.
gotta earn.
You gotta earn. You gotta learn.
From game night to parties with friends or special anniversary, celebrating important occasions means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Cheers to 50 years of Miller Lite, the great tasting light beer for people who love beer since 1975. Now's a perfect time to celebrate legendary stories with friends, family, and a great tasting light beer. It's Miller time. When I think of Miller Lite, I think of me and my dad cheersing, watching a Marlins game on a cruise together. We get the tsk-tsk-ah and the cheers. It's just, when I think of Miller Lite, I think of times with my dad, times with family and friends. It's the original light beer since 1975, still iconic 50 years later. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
I want to get to Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson in a second with Juju, but Greg Cody, before we get out of here for the day, Stugotz was telling me that you have some sort of addendum to your statue edict from last week. So let's not get out of here before we get. You want to reappraise the audience of both what your statue edict was and what the addendum now is?
Yeah. I felt a little bad last week, and I appreciate the chance to maybe clarify a little bit. I use Don Staley as an example to say that in sports, I believe we have too many statues in sports. I think the statue should be reserved for the elite of the elite. And Don Staley's very good. South Carolina loves her. She's a great basketball coach. She's won, I think 2 championships? I don't think you give a statue for 2 championships. I don't. The example I would use is Greg Popovich, 5 championships. And now retiring only for health reasons.
So you tip for 1 or 2 days, or you don't tip for 1 or 2 days, but you do on the 3rd, and you don't give statues for 1 or 2 championships, but you do for the 4th and the 5th.
Yeah, because you got to draw the line somewhere.
Makes
right?
sense.
You got to draw the line somewhere. I think Popovich, to me, is a statue.
Right. Okay, got it. So the old white guy gets a statue, and the young black woman does not.
Oh, here we go. Okay. I was thinking in terms of 2 championships versus 5.
Okay, but
Well,
also,
if Staley's career ends with just 2 titles, does she deserve a championship? Because I think doing it while she's still coaching is probably what bothers you.
but I also said what I said
It's
was
premature.
What I said was accurate, though. Correct?
That Popovich is white and Don Staley is black?
Yes.
That would be very accurate.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay.
You nailed it.
And but what are you implying there? I'm using numerics. I'm going 2 championships versus 5.
I also love this because she has 3 championships.
Does she? Okay, so she's getting close. She's getting closer.
one away, yeah.
She's getting closer. Would I give 3? No. If Eric Spoelstra had won all 3 championships for the Heat, is he deserve a statue? Not yet. 3 championships. Not yet.
I mean, in fairness,
In my opinion, I'm
Yes.
just giving my opinion.
You took Wade's statue away last week. You did.
Well,
yes.
I want
He's taking away black statues and giving them to white men.
I want a statue of Wade that looks like Wade. How's that?
That's fair.
Well, Wade only won 3 championships. Did he deserve a statue?
I said last week that he didn't, and I didn't mean that as an insult to Dwayne Wade.
Enough of this. Juju is waiting, and he should not be kept waiting anymore. As Greg Cody takes away statues.
Nah, I think I want to stay here.
Okay. All right.
I want to just tell my brother Greg, I love you, brother. You're my brother. You feel me? But I think more than the championships, what Don Staley means to that sport, what Don Staley has done to South Carolina, what South Carolina was before she got there, the example she set to black little girls everywhere that you can be, the people she's led, Asia Wilson, Lisa Gray, she's had a more of a cultural impact and just a global impact. As far as her being especially a former player, just her impact is what deserves a statue more than the championships. You feel me?
I do, and I think while I think that's arguable, I think you make a great point. And by my
what's arguable?
What he just said, equating to a statue, I think is arguable. But I think he makes a good argument.
But I would say that would be more reason to give someone a statue than championships. No? Do you think I have it wrong when I say?
I think it's a combination of everything.
But no, when I say giving of statues, though, I can give anybody a number and say you deserve a statue. And I could do that with anybody. But cultural impact, isn't that what statues are for?
I think for me, statue is you have been a success and an impact for eternity. You deserve to be remembered in statue form 3 generations from now, forever.
For impact, for championships, not impact.
I think part of the problem is she is still coaching.
So
I think
Don
Greg feels like statues are reserved for people once they retire.
Don deserves to be forgotten, then, is what you're saying. Greg Cody, Don Staley should be forgotten.
No, I'm not. I just think there are too many statues in sports. I happen to use her as an example. I think it's premature. I don't think it's not deserved. I think years from now, at the end of her career, when you should look back for a statue, not during a career, I think she may well deserve a statue. Do I think she does right now? I don't, but it doesn't mean that she's any kind of a failure at all. I just think too many statues.
So she's not a failure.
Greg, how about Manu Ginobili? Manu Ginobili helped lead the Spurs to 4 championships as a player.
Yeah.
Manu Ginobili, does he deserve a statue?
I don't think so.
I agree.
How about Rocky?
No, again.
What?
That's a good example of who doesn't deserve
Lady Liberty?
A mythical statue. It's a mythical figure is getting a
Heavyweight
statue.
champ.
What about Ted Williams?
The Statue of Liberty.
You could make an argument for Ted Williams. Yeah.
With or without the head?
Jackie Robinson, Babe Ruth.
Yep.
There's a Hank Aaron deserves a statue.
Mm-hmm.
People from your era.
Well, okay.
Jackie Robinson, Greg, in your argument, only won 1 championship.
And Ted Williams has none.
Yeah, but
what cultural impact did he ever have?
Jackie Robinson?
I'm not sure. There's no record of it.
Okay. All right, now you guys are being silly. I'm just saying this.
Let it play out. He needs to see the overall body of work.
All I'm saying is there's too many statues in sports.
Yeah, you said that a couple of different times.
Okay, I didn't think it was controversial. I think if you put it on your poll, most people would agree with me. There's too many statues in sports.
Are there too many statues in sports? Let's get back to actual sports. Caitlin Clark, she returns to Iowa, and a logo 3. You think that Buddy Hield is changing the sport. You understand that people are now. I'm legitimately, when I watch this Celtics-Knicks series that's coming up, I urge you guys to continue to be confused by how far Karl Anthony Towns is from the basket when he's shooting the basketball. Caitlin Clark logo 3s, Juju, clearly you're here for them.
Yes, I am. And Caitlin Clark 1,000% deserves a statue in Iowa, because where the hell would Iowa be? That's that girls' basketball team without her putting them on the map. But yeah, bro, her and the Fever returned to Iowa yesterday, the alma mater. I think that's a great idea by the W. You feel me? Like letting the players go back to where they are grown and where people love them the most, and take their professional team and have exhibition games. They beat the brakes off of Brazil, but nobody was there for that. Even after the game, Brazil was asking for autographs and TikToks from Caitlin. She just overall is a positive person for the entire sport, and I can't wait to see what she does this year.
Juju, you mentioned Brazil. I wanted to ask you guys a question. I learned something else over the weekend other than getting stopped on my bicycle by a police officer that could happen. I learned that a female artist or an artist of any kind could draw more than 2 million fans in Brazil. It's the most ever by a female artist. But when I saw that, I'm like, how is there more than that? 2.5 million seems like a crowd that would be the most that have ever gathered for anybody, any kind of artist. But also I learned, and I did not know this, Copacabana, a real place. I did not know it was a place in Brazil.
Get out of here.
I didn't know it was a real
Really?
place. I did not know it was a real place. I thought it was just a song.
Surprised you would admit that.
Man, when's the last time you read a book?
At Le Batard Show, did you know Copacabana was a real place?
I would love it if the percentage was 93% of the people knew that was a real place.
Being all show to drop that line back at him.
LeBron, can you tell me, Juju, what it is that you did with the polls today? Do you have them on you? Because I have to get to this. You did not have them on you. You Hall of Fame, the Hat Hall of Fame. I've got to conclude that for the day. What do you guys have for Hat Hall of Fame?
Pharrell Williams.
Yeah. Wow, that's good.
Oh, so it's not. So we're not doing just sports because everything before that was just sports.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Heisenberg, Breaking Bad.
Winston Churchill, the famous Homburg.
Fred Durst.
Solid. Fred Durst, great.
The tiny little blue hat on Hey Arnold. Yeah. Remember the little blue hat between his hair? No?
Not a first balloter, but.
The Cat in the Hat.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Dan's Kangol when I first started working on the show.
I did have a Kangol.
You had a Kangol
What?
face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson had a Kangol, right?
Do we have any
Steve Martin.
video of
Steve
that?
Martin.
Steve Martin wore a Kangol?
Yeah. He wore a hat too, actually. Come to think of
He
it.
did
Sorting
wear a
hat in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Also wore an arrow through his head.
Yeah.
Prop comic.
Steve Martin.
Juju, what do you have for polls today?
Before I get to the poll, I got just a couple things, you feel me? Get them out quickly. Billy, I 100% agree with you about pedestrians. Like, watch where you're going. Because if I make a mistake, yeah, you have the right of way, but you'll be right on your way to hell or heaven if I hit you with a car.
And then I go to jail.
Exactly. Then right. Pay attention to where you're going, pedestrians. Also, snitches get stitches. Why we bringing up Dan's tickets on the air? Like, she's just
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Juju, because I'm surrounded by spies and what you.
Crocodile Dundee.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Cody,
Yeah.
what are you doing dancing around because you revealed my outstanding ticket on the air? How could you be
That was
happy
just my
about
people
that?
working behind the scenes. I didn't even do
To
it.
betray me?
Yeah, I mean, we're all here for the
more of
content.
I mean, for what it's worth, we're all betrayed on the show every day. So.
Yes, it was more of a
Ain't that the
reminder, Dan, that you have an outstanding ticket. Pay it. You know, we don't want you to get arrested.
I thought
Yeah,
it was
we just
two.
want
I
good
told
for
you
you.
guys I got 2 tickets, one in a school zone, and I thought
the
maybe
school zone.
I only
School zone.
paid one of them.
You're
You guys
racing
said that
through
the
a school
best time
zone.
to be speeding is after being caught speeding, and I was telling you I got caught speeding the other day and then got another ticket in a school zone right then after.
Imagine you speeding through that school zone and little kids on their bikes running stop signs.
Seriously.
Yep.
What kind of world would we be
That's
in?
unbelievable. So when you say, do you know who I am, the cop really doesn't buy that, or how does that work?
Barack Obama's White Sox hat.
Oh, Ken Griffey Jr.
Bad.
Also, last week we said that Zaslow was the person that you heard first say, that actually was pointed out by hundreds of fans that was on Wayne's World. So I think Zaslow got that something from Wayne's World.
so he just stole it and made it his own.
For sure.
Course,
Absolutely.
journalist
Surprise there.
Laszlo.
Proud of him.
And speaking of the fans, of course, I can't be here and not ask the question that all the fans want to answer today. I'm sorry if this offends everybody, but Stugotz, I got to ask you, Celtics, Knicks, what is your prediction for your team?
Oh boy, I'm so scared to say this, but I feel good about the Knicks' chances.
Oh, wow.
I do, like Jaylen Brown is banged up. Tatum appears to be a little bit banged up. They have Al Horford. We don't. That could be, a deciding factor. I think the Celtics in 7. I think it's going to be a very, very close series.
But
Nice.
that's not actually believing in your team. That's
It is believing in my team.
Well, charge.
I don't want to say what it is I want to say. Fine, I'm going to say it. The Knicks in 6.
The words don't mean anything if you do it after the making it the Celtics.
I didn't want
in
to jinx
7.
it. I promised certain friends I would not jinx it, and here I am.
I don't
jinxing it.
believe
Yeah.
that at all.
I didn't promise anyone.
Why do you lie so much?
That is just.
filling time,
I
Roy.
promise we're
Ah,
not
the
filling
time, yeah.
time. We're doing the Juju segment.
Yo, chicken
Hey, he asked me a question.
You lying
Should they
I don't know why you would do that.
Not surprised at all.
So if you're keeping track at home, I have the Celtics in 7 and the Knicks in 6.
Who's that? Knicks in 6. That doesn't. We don't have a prediction.
Frosty the Snowman's hat.
Oh, it's a good one.
The MAGA hat.
You know what?
That hat has to be in there, guys. I know it's controversial. It's in there.
I'm objecting to the first Zagaki I haven't liked.
Really?
I'm the 6th Zagaki, and I'm the worst one. I knew it. I knew it when I went to air with it.
Because you don't believe it in your heart. Because you're a fraud, Zagaki.
Yeah.
You wanted
Frizaki.
you didn't want.
A fake
You
Zagaki.
just wanted the attention, and you hated that you had to do it with the MAGA hat, but you wanted to try a Zagaki.
It was a good joke, though.
Because you feel left out that you're not a Zagaki. Yeah, everybody else has got a Zagaki, and you don't have a Zagaki.
Zagaki.
Does Greg Cody's feet look like the devil's feet?
100%.
94% of the audience says yes, they do.
Oh,
Those
come
6%.
Okay.
Please. Love
Is
it.
slayed a modern term that kids say?
Oh, boy.
69% of the audience says yes, it is.
Nice.
He's been making that sound. This is why I didn't understand where the whole old dolly came from today. The whoop whoop is the sound I've been hearing when he's right since the 50s.
I am
Sound of
lit
the
right
police.
now, man. I am lit.
Should everyone be talking about Buddy Hield today?
Yeah.
65% of the audience says yes, they should.
Thank you.
Great set of teeth on Buddy Hield, by the way.
Put
Chompers.
it on the poll at LeBatard Show.
You're right.
Great set of chompers on Buddy
Yeah.
Hield, question mark. Yes or
Deserves a
no?
statue. Buddy Hield.
Is Big Shot Bud a good nickname? 57% of the audience says no, it's not.
What about Big Shot Bob, which is also what he called Buddy Hield inexplicably?
Well, I said the B in Buddy stands for Big Shot Bob.
There it is.
Thank you.
Can you be back if you never arrived? 67% of the audience says no, you cannot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you answer the phone on the weekend?
Hell no.
63% of the audience says no, they don't.
Wow.
Right.
Hmm.
Have you ever spelled the word restaurant right on the first attempt? 55% of the audience are liars and they say yes.
Split on that.
Close vote.
Right. Are you keeping an eye on Aaron Judge?
It's just wrong. It's unfair.
You have to.
Right. 58% of the audience says they're not, though.
Woo!
Dang.
Wow. Surprise.
Right.
Should start.
Upset.
Is Jimmy Goldstein's hat a Hall of Famer? 62% of the audience says yes, it is.
Another statue deserved. Yeah. Goldstein.
Can you get a DUI while riding on a bicycle? 86% of the audience says yes.
Not if you're Dan.
You're willing to give an old white guy's hat a statue before Don Staley?
Two Americas. Sorry, Greg. I love you. Listen to the Greg Cody podcast featuring Greg Cody.
You're with. Thank you, Juju. Appreciate that.
Last poll. Did you know that you could get pulled over for running a stop sign while on your bicycle? 67% of the audience says no, they did not. And those are your polls.
Victory for Dan.
All right. Yeah.